Let me give you my thoughts first. First, starting with the Tech game. Offensively, we just didn't do the things necessary to win. I asked defense for two stops early, and I felt like defense played well enough for us to win the game. We just didn't capitalize on our possessions. We knew that Tech offense was going to be hard to ask the defense to completely stop them and shut them down. And so, we asked them for two stops early, and they gave us that. And we didn't do the little things that we had been doing early in the season to be successful in the game.
That seems to have been, though, an issue for a couple of weeks in the first half, first quarter, of not quite hitting on all cylinders. I mean, you moved the ball some in the first drive, but after that, it was a while again before you found any rhythm.
Yep, and that's the biggest thing I addressed before the game. I knew that Tech was gonna do what they do and control the game clock. I knew that they was gonna have the ball for most of the game, and so I told guys that we need to take advantage of our possessions and especially get off to a fast start so that Tech had to play from behind, and we just got into that same old role that come from behind and with the turnovers, we haven't been turning the ball over, but I felt like we could have came back. It was just the point in the game where those turnovers came. It was just, giving them the short field is something that we talked about and we knew that we couldn't do, and we did. So the mood of the team is good. We don't feel like we just got beat up in the game. Tech was very physical in that game. They did a great job of disguising their coverages and gave us some headaches offensively. But we just laid the ball on the ground. We didn't block the way that we needed to block. We didn't run the way we needed to run. And going forward, we know what it takes to be successful, and it's just one game. To start out the season, we had 5 goals on that board, and going 12-0 was not one of the 5 goals. As much as you get that train rolling and, you get to 5-0, 6-0, you start thinking about it a little bit, of course. But it was never one of our goals, and we're disappointed that we let one drop because you strive to win every game. But we still have all the goals that we want to accomplish as far as a team.
Isn't it kind of surreal that, and as you say, it would have been nice to go 12-0, but I mean, really, in the big picture, you turn right around, and next Saturday, I mean, you could, be living euphoria, and it's almost as if the Georgia Tech game really doesn't matter toward that, because you win Saturday, you're going to the ACC title game.
Exactly.
I think you got it. No.
Someone's calling to tell them that too.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry about that. Rookie mistake.
But in terms of the quick turnaround,
This is what I was selling. That's what I'm saying. The little things.
that was a turnover.
Exactly.
What about the fact that, I mean, again, in the big picture, it's just kind of weird. The Georgia Tech game really doesn't mean anything in the big picture.
Exactly. And that's the thing that coach has really been stressing to the guys. And the fact that those guys feel bad after a loss, they should. What I mean? That's great. I like that they feel bad after one loss, because after 6 last year, I couldn't breathe. So the fact that you see the culture changing around here, and that one loss is getting to them. And for a lot of those guys, that was their first loss ever in college. So for them to get that taste in their mouth now rather than in December is a lot better.
Is this the most you've ever embraced a leadership role in your playing career? Because the way you're talking, it almost sounds like you're the coach asking for 2 stops out of the defense. I mean, can you ever recall yourself in your career of being that guy who stood up in the middle of the locker room? As it appears, you're doing quite a bit.
Nah, never. And it's just one of those things, just kind of like my game. It just took some time for it to mature until I was ready to step into that leadership role and step into that playmaker role.
I get the sense by your first remarks that you understand that there's a lot of shrill over what the defense did or did not do Saturday out there, and you kind of address that up front. It's not all on them.
No, not at all. The defense did a great job of really, they had 2, 3 and outs or something like that to start the game. And heck, if we would have capitalized on that and have gotten field goals, we would have went up 9-0. And that just changes the way that games, play out. There's so many things that affect the way that a game, how a game can go. And, take us getting the interception down within the and starting on like the 5 or the 6 or the 7 and then throwing the interception afterwards. It's stuff like that. It's pivotal turnovers that got to us that, the comeback Tigers just couldn't overcome.
Do you sense that Bellamy is maybe a guy who more than anyone needs the leadership right now of an older guy because, put it on the ground a couple of times this year when that's really been hurtful to the team. Also, he's had some issues with not being the man. I mean, is that the kind of guy that you would really identify as an upperclassman looking to kind of keep on the right course, so to speak?
Yeah, and I talked to Bellamy on the regular, and kind of got into his ear after the game and let him know that it was fine. It's okay, and that we still trust him because we know the talent that he has and the capability to take it to the house on any handoff. And so, it's kind of like a shooter. If you tell a shooter to stop shooting, he's going to stop shooting, and his whole game is going to be thrown off. I'm not going to tell Mike to be afraid to get a handoff, because that happened early in the season, and, he had some opportunities to break a run, and he didn't because he just wanted to hold on to the ball. I'm going to stress in practice for him high and tight to keep it tucked. And hopefully that translates to the game. But I want him to run and be the player that he is.
Hey, I mentioned that because yesterday when they released the depth chart, it said, at running back, Ellington, Howard, and then it said Bellamy or McDowell. And I'm pretty sure that in the past hadn't been established like that. So maybe, again, he's maybe starting to feel the heat again or maybe being a little bit more upset. Have you noticed that at all?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. He knows his role and his value to this team. And a depth chart doesn't change that.
How badly does this team just need an off week right now, especially for a guy like you who's beat up a little bit with the toe? But how much do you guys need overall?
It's big. It's big. And for us, really, now I feel like it's more mental than physical.
Yeah.
Being on this roller coaster thing, starting off 8-0, having everyone talk about you, that weighs a lot on you mentally. And so, and especially to go home after a loss. It's real big for the guys to go home, to be able to go home and refresh and really reboot and get ready to kick this thing off.
How much are you going to be able to do in practice this week? Are you just going to kind of take it easy with the toe? Or
This week I'm probably just going to take it easy and really watch practice just so I can get it back to full health. Yeah. It felt all right in the game, and afterwards, of course, I wanted to cut it off, but it's getting better. It's getting better, and I'm gonna have it at 100% for Wake Forest.
Is this week particularly important to be off because the Wake Forest game isn't just any generic game? It's got a championship implication to it, and maybe if you played that this week, you might be in a situation where the Georgia Tech loss could beat you twice, one of those kind of deals?
Possibly. With the Georgia Tech game, Georgia Tech was playing for everything. And I really don't feel like we as leaders on the team stressed that enough to the other guys so that we could have that type of alertness and importance to the game, which should come with every game, but it doesn't. And going to this Wake game, those guys understand what we're playing for. The upperclassmen and the young ones, they understand what we're playing for and the opportunity that we have ahead of us, and I'm going to stress that in practice more than ever.
Have you guys thought or talked at all about maybe getting another shot at those guys?
Not at all. Not at all. Our biggest importance right now is concentrating on Wake Forest, a very good team who just came off a loss themselves, but are very capable of beating us.
Where were you most limited by that toe injury Saturday?
Say it again.
Where were you limited with the toe Saturday?
Really in the vertical passing game. I couldn't get downfield. I couldn't push off it the way I wanted to. And there was one instance where Taj Lay went over the middle for me, and I couldn't get up for it, where usually I would be able to jump up and make that catch.
Is that frustrating, just knowing that cover two, that deep middle, you should excel?
Very frustrating, very frustrating. I was looking forward to having a good game and really helping the team out and being able to help us come back and win, and I wasn't physically able to do that.
When does the medical staff, they tell you when you can expect to be near 100%?
They don't really know. With this injury, it's just one of those things. You just got to give it time, and it'll heal up over time. But I've been getting a lot of stretching and doing a lot of rehabbing with it, and it's feeling better. It's getting a lot of strength back.
I think you said you had a similar injury in high school, right?
Right.
Would you just based on that, would you sort of expect to be significantly improved by next Saturday?
Yes, big time. I was lucky, and I had the injury right on the game before bye week, so I was able to just sit out all week, and I played the next game.
Have you thought about what Dabo's trying to tell you? You guys lose, and now he's taking you to prison?
Nah, not as much. He had that plan way before the season, but it did come at a awkward time. But it's gonna be a fun opportunity to go out there and really get the opportunity to talk to those guys and have them share their stories. Which, a lot of the guys on the team may or may not have came from similar backgrounds, but the importance that coach is trying to stress is that one decision can change your whole life.
Does that kind of put Saturday's game in perspective, going out and talking to guys like this who obviously have more pressing matters, at hand? Yeah,
a lot. We're very fortunate and blessed, as Coach would say, to be able to go out and play the game of football, to go to school and just have to worry about, what test do I have this week? Not, who's coming in my cell next week. You know what I mean? And so to really have the younger guys go out there and experience this, we've done a lot of community service since I've been here. That's what Coach Sweeney is all about. So to have the young guys get their first taste of community service and it be a prison, hopefully heightens the expectations as far as, our impact on this community.
Yeah, appreciate it.
No problem.